video, this time another one which rivals the Yamaha V80. I made a video about this Yamaha V80 back in December 2020. Now today it is the 21st of April 2021 and I am going to make a video on the Suzuki FR80, a direct rival of this Yamaha V80 here and of the Honda C70, three very popular bikes here in Malta. This is the FR80. It is a 1981 model, but they were issued earlier as well. I had a 1981, it's basically the same. But it had one seat, so a one whole seat, instead of like this one which is split in two. I don't know if it was fitted on that one or originally what was issued that way. So this is our 1981 FR80, as already said, and it is in quite a fair condition, but it is not in a very good state. It was restored by my uncle years back. However, he sold it to a person and this person sold it to another one, and apparently they were not taking care of it as much as we normally do, or they didn't care much about it. In fact, it also has a number written here on the dashboard. Instead of them writing it on a paper or something, they just scratched it on the paint, which makes me a bit mad, but anyway. But yeah, overall it is in a fair condition, but it has scratches here and there, so it does need some little work. Much like the Yamaha V80, this one also has an apron-like feature here, which is here. It is not installed at the moment, but my dad have just bought it new. So yeah, this fits right here, much like the Honda C70 and the Yamaha V80. In Maltese we call it fardal, which means apron, because this leg shield looks like an apron. The thing with these Suzuki FR80s are that they are a little bit faster than the Yamaha V80s and the Honda C70s, at least on paper, because when we actually rode them on the streets, the difference was not that much. So it basically ran as much as the others, not more. A variation of this model was an FR80 with a round headlight. I think they had maybe minor differences in other parts, but the main part that catches one's eyes is that the headlight was round. I am not sure whether that was an earlier or a later model than this one. I've never seen on the road here in Malta. Much like the Yamaha V80, it is a two-stroke 80cc motorbike. It does not have a clutch here in your hand. It is semi-automatic, so it does have 3 gears. So it is a manual, but with no clutch. Had been sitting in our other garage for a number of years. Last week I started it and it worked fine. It is a very good bike. They were very popular here, these type of bikes. Although the Suzukis were the least popular, so the Yamaha V80 and the Honda C70s were more popular here in Malta than the Suzukis. I remember a few years ago my dad rode this one, and myself I rode the Yamaha V80, and other friends of mine were with the Hondas, with the C70s, with the cab, and we went around the streets, and when we found a little bit of straight we tried to push them to the limit. And he was at the first place, actually, he was at the front. And my dad is a heavy man. And I remember when we arrived in our destination, we were all pitted with oil. So it had been sitting there for a while as well, and it threw a lot of oil, and our aprons, the leg shields of the bikes, were filled with oil, and our faces too. So yeah, I remember that quite well, because he filled our motorbikes with oil, and I remember us telling him to drive right back at the back of us, not at the front. When it comes to its design, it has quite a fierce looking or aggressive design for that time. It is the early 80s, remember, so yeah, sharp lines were a characteristic at the time. While, for example, when comparing it to the Honda Cub, it had been with that cute face with the round headlight and the round indicators, for example, since the 70s. We have a K1, for example, from 1972, and it looks much more of a people's bike. The Yamaha, on the other hand, also have sharp lines, a characteristic of the 1980s, but this one I think looks even more aggressive. One may ask if I have a vision for the future about this little bike here, but I am going to keep it this way. At this time I have so many projects, so it is good to have it, and it is not in a very bad state. So at least we have it in our collection along with its rivals, the Yamaha V80 and the Honda C70. It's good to have it in our garage, but at this time it is going to stay this way. Now I am going to take it a bit outside because of the smoke, since it's a two-stroke, and I am going to start it for you to hear it sound. Thank you.